My name is Lauren Lynch. In the past 17 years that I have lived on this earth, I have led a pretty normal life. I grew up in a normal neighborhood, in a normal house, with normal parents, and a normal cat. It wasn't until February 2010 that something happened. I went to the Philippines on a school trip. Many adventures ensued on this unfamiliar side of the world. The greatest adventures by far were the ones we had with the people in the villages that adopted us. Our host mothers took us to the local public markets. The village children took us to rice paddies and palm groves that led to rivers where they swam and fished. Everything here was different. While in the Philippines, I also experienced something else, living very close to animals. And I don't mean just cats and dogs. I'm talking about, farm animals, like cows and goats and pigs and chickens too. Having lived in the city my whole life, there had always been a separation between me and these animals. I mean, I always knew that the hamburger I was eating was in fact a cow, but that was always common knowledge and never really registered with me. Going to the Philippines showed me that there was no separation at all. After I got back from the Philippines, I started researching, how we eat animals here in the United States and how our animals are treated before they actually come to our plate. And researching that and researching the American factory farming system was huge. I mean, I think that's what really made me become vegetarian, because certainly my experiences in the Philippines traumatized me, but I don't think it would have stuck with me for more than, maybe a few weeks or a month or like a couple months. That was when I really stopped eating animals. And that's also when things got pretty weird. First, let me introduce you to my mom. She's fantastic. She's not just my mom, she's also one of my closest friends. One of the things I've learned about my mom over the years, she doesn't really advocate vegetarianism, not for most people.
I mean, why do you have to have your own food, like you'll be so different. So here I am, I'm eating meat, so that means you are too good for that. I don't like that kind of stance where people people have to create a divide that, oh, they're vegetarians and here I am, I'm eating meat. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if I just, eat meat moderately.
Knowing about my mom's views on vegetarianism, I knew that she definitely would not tolerate it from me. But I knew what I had seen, and I knew all about where our food came from. And I knew that I was in way too deep to let it alone. I knew I had to stop eating animals. So what did I do? I stopped. I stopped eating meat. And you know what my mother had to say about that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because I never told her. So this is how the past 5 months have been going for me. Whenever confronted with food containing meat, especially at my house, I can't just sit there and not eat it. I have to hide it. I found that while shoving food around the plate certainly may work sometimes, you can only take that so far. So you have to think fast. You have to do lots of cutting. Every now and then, you start to take a bite, and then you stop to say something. Then you maybe cut it to even smaller pieces, or gradually collect more and more food into your hand under the table. I found myself in a constant argument about whether or not this whole vegetarian thing was worth it. I mean, was I, as a single individual, really making a difference in how livestock animals are treated before we consume them? Was my defiance going to convince companies to change their farming and slaughterhouse policies? Obviously not. And was my insistence of vegetarianism going to cause a dent in my relationship with my mother? Possibly.
I mean, it's really believe, you know, vegetarianism is good, and I love how Buddhists are vegetarians and many other religions. But that encompasses an entire belief system, not just the not eating of meat. You know, there's also their faith, and there's their the meditation. But as far as you, vegetarian just relating to food, that's...
It's not for any like egotistic purpose or even any health reason. I just don't think it's right to eat meat. So yeah, she eventually did find out, like 4 or 5 months later, but I said it outright to her in an argument that we were having, and I just wanted to spite her. So I was like, you know what, Mom? For the past 5 months, I have not been eating meat. And so she's known since then. I do agree with my mom in the sense that people often use vegetarianism self-indulgently. But my mom needs to understand that I truly believe that eating meat is wrong, and that by being a vegetarian, I'm choosing not to support the meat industry for the sole reason that I don't feel right eating meat. Franz Kafka once said, "I am free, and that is why I am lost." Maybe my mom doesn't accept my vegetarianism because I have not truly shown that I am capable of directing my own freedom. Vegetarianism is more than a sacrifice of food. Maybe for me it means sacrificing dependence. Dependence on knowing that there will always be food around, already bought, already made, ready for me whenever I want it. Maybe in being vegetarian, I have to also start figuring out how I'm getting food, and essentially how I'm going to direct my life myself. But that's fine, because I know what I've experienced, and I know what I have to do.